All right, looks like it's going to be a pretty active week in terms of weather for California. The biggest story is some of the large surf that's going to be coming in. And as you can see on some of these camera shots, there is already some pretty large surf out there at the moment, but it's really just the start of the swell. And then we have 2 rounds of rainfall and some gusty winds expected throughout the rest of this week as well. So what we're looking at right here is Central Ocean Beach. Right now, it's running at about 15 to 18 feet. I actually just surfed for about 3 hours in the Santa Cruz area, so it's not this big. But yeah, it was pretty good down here. Looks a bit unruly at Ocean Beach right now, and I think that's going to be a word that's going to describe the next few days there. If you look at the forecast tomorrow, so that's going to be Wednesday, is 10 to 15 feet. Then Thursday jumps up to 25 to 30 feet. Friday 10 to 15, so it comes down a little on Friday, and then it jumps right back up again on Saturday to 20 to 25 feet. Now, one thing I will point out though, so you're looking at your columns here, so it's today, tomorrow, Thursday, Friday. Today we did have some periods where it was green in Central Ocean Beach, so if you made it out there early this morning, may have got some of the fair to good 10 to 15. But then looks like it was just poor to fair. So when it gets into the yellow, that's when it's not too good. And then when it gets into the red, that's where it's just straight up bad. And it looks like that's going to be the case on Thursday. So right here, that looks to be the peak of the swell right there. 19.2 feet at 18 seconds. So you can see how the swell jumps up right there. See what direction it's coming from. It's a west at 265 degrees. And it doesn't look like there's as big of tidal swings on Thursday as what we are currently seeing. And there's going to be more talk on these tidal swings in a moment, because you notice today it went from a 6.8 to a -1. Looks like tomorrow it goes from a 6.7 to a -0.9. That has to do with, part of the reason is to do with I believe it's a full moon right now. So then that just like basically pulls the water more. And then that's why we do have some coastal flooding concerns moving forward. So Thursday, looking at it right there, it says 30 to 35 feet. Wind 1 mile per hour east-southeast. But I think they're just saying it's going to be too big for it to be working. And south wind isn't great at Ocean Beach. But you notice it's in the red, which is very poor. So basically just a good day to stay out of the water. You can see how that swell jumps up right there. Not the day to be in the ocean. So let's now just look at some of the 2 banners that explain what's going on across California. This is the San Francisco office from the National Weather Service. High surf warning. You can see who's covered in it by that dark green color. Basically goes all the way through Northern California, around Ocean Beach, down through the Central Coast. And hazards, the usual: large breaking waves, rip currents, sneaker waves, increased coastal run-up, and storm surge. So that's 25 to 30 foot waves, especially for west and northwest facing beaches. Imagine it if the swell is coming in like this, then any of your beaches that are facing that direction are going to pick up more of that swell. Whereas if you're maybe down here in Capitola, you may be a little bit sheltered from some of the large waves coming in. That might be where I try to go on Thursday. I'm hoping it'll be a little sheltered in there. So just looking at it, the timing on it, 3 a.m. Thursday to 3 a.m. Friday. So it looks like it is going to be dropping down on Friday, but then it was jumping right back up again on Saturday. But this will be one of the biggest swells that we've had this year. And then to go along with it, we also have 2 rounds of rain this week. See, Wednesday is that first round. Looks like it's mostly up in Northern California. Not a whole lot for the Central Coast. And then Friday and Saturday, it looks like there's a bit more rain coming. So let's actually just look at the timing and totals on that rainfall now, and just where all of this activity for California is coming from. It's this huge low. I read one report, they're saying it's hurricane force low. So some of these winds, that means they'd be about 74 miles per hour or greater. There's one that shows 71 miles per hour, though that's wind gusts. And I believe for hurricane force it has to be sustained winds. But basically, it's a very powerful low, and that's going to be moving closer towards California through Wednesday, and that's what's going to be wrapping in some of the rainfall that we're going to be getting. You can see how as the low moves right there, this goes into Wednesday, and then you can imagine what happens with the rain. Just gets picked up by those winds and pushed in to California. So what we're looking at right here is wind gusts, and that is one of the factors that we're going to feel first this week, before even the large surf comes in. It's going to be some strong winds, 48 mile per hour up in Northern California. Let's go into the day Wednesday. Looks like it spreads out. Even up in the mountains, we have some gusts up to 45, 40 right there around the Bay Area. Clicking in here, there's some 20 to 30 mile per hour gusts. What about the Santa Cruz Mountains? Yeah, 30 mile per hour gusts. So it's not too crazy in terms of winds, but it is up in Northern California. You can see some of that brown color right there, which represents a wind advisory. So it's not a high wind warning. One other thing I should mention, so the dark green was our high surf warning, and then that light green is the coastal flood advisory. And that's because of the combination of the large surf and the big tidal swing. So on the high tide, that's where you can get some flooding along the coast. But back to the rainfall, let's just click all the way. That's the first system that comes through, and then the second system, looks like the second one is a bit more widespread with more rainfall associated with it. So let's break down the timing for Northern California first. There's 4 a.m. on Wednesday. It starts to show up along the coast. You can see there's some moderate to even heavy rainfall expected at times. That's 10 a.m. on Wednesday. Looks like it becomes a bit more widespread throughout Northern California. Maybe some heavy rainfall moving into the Bay Area. Heavy rainfall then moving into the Central Valley. That's at about 4 p.m. on Wednesday. There's a little blue up in the mountains. We'll look at some of the snowfall totals towards the end of this video. Looks like it's another pretty disappointing storm overall in terms of snow. And then it still looks pretty widespread getting into Thursday morning, but then there's a few lingering showers throughout the day Thursday, but overall looks like it's a Wednesday kind of system. And then let's click through. And the next one looks to start showing up 10 a.m. on Friday. That's just some like prefrontal showers. The front looks like it really arrives 4 p.m. on Friday up on the northwestern coast of California. And then it spreads into the Bay Area. That's at 7 p.m. on Friday. And this looks to be the more significant of the two systems. And it's also pretty slow moving. So that's where you can get some larger rainfall totals. Look, there's the front at 4 p.m. There's the front at 7 p.m. There's the front at 10 p.m. So there's the potential for some heavy rainfall over the Bay Area for most of Friday. And then getting into Saturday, that's Saturday morning, it already looks like much of the activity is moving up into the east and up into the mountains. Blue represents some snowfall. Love to see that. Yeah, there's still some on Saturday. It just looks like Wednesday is the first round of rain, and then Friday, I think, is going to be the day to watch in terms of rainfall. So just clicking through these totals, let's go through Thursday afternoon because this will be mostly the first system. San Francisco, 0.4, San Jose, 0.2, Santa Rosa, 0.5, Redding, 1.3, Eureka, 0.7. So it's some rain. Get some moisture back into our fuels. That's always good. But then if we fast forward all the way to Sunday, that's where Santa Rosa's totals go up to about 1.5 inches, another 1.5 inches for San Francisco, San Jose, Stockton, Sacramento, Chico. And then up in the northwest coast, that's where you see the yellow color, which could be maybe 3 to 4 inches of rain there. Now let's go and see what the central coast down to Southern California is going to be doing in terms of these systems. That's 4 p.m. on Wednesday. Looks like we start to see some rain show up for the central coast. Not all that much. Doesn't look to be very heavy. You notice it's mostly just in that green color. Not too much heavy rain. And then it doesn't look like that first system makes it down to Southern California, although they will be seeing some of the surf on Thursday. Then Friday 10 a.m. looks like that little prefrontal showers, and then the front arrives. That's 7 p.m. on Friday. It's off the coast. Then it starts to move in over the Central Coast 10 p.m. Friday. Then works its way down into kind of more the Santa Barbara or San Luis Obispo, Santa Barbara area as you go overnight Friday into Saturday morning. Also, I think their soils are probably pretty saturated in this area. They just picked up a lot of rainfall with the last storm that I was forecasting for. I even saw some footage of some pretty bad flooding in the Santa Barbara area. Then it finally starts to move in around Los Angeles, 7 a.m. on Saturday. Doesn't look like it's going to be a huge rainmaker for SoCal, although we'll know that better once we click through here. So that's the first system. Salinas, 0.3, looks like the Santa Cruz Mountains, maybe 0.5, not much there. Then the second storm comes through, again, mostly Friday into Saturday. That brings Salinas up to 1, Santa Cruz Mountains in some red, maybe 2 inches there. Santa Maria, 0.9, Los Angeles, 0.8, San Diego, 0.4. So looks like the largest totals, as usual, are going to be up in Northern California. But the surf is going to be for basically all of California. That again is the big story over the next few days. What's not a huge story is what's going on with the snow. That's the first system. There's purple up there. That could be maybe 8 to 10 inches, but just some blue in the Sierra, which is, 3 to 4 inches, and just for the very high elevations. Then if we go all the way through the weekend, yeah, it looks like it's another one of those storms where it's mostly just bringing snow up into the high elevations. So again, just wrapping up, we got 2 rounds of rain this week. Wednesday, then it looks like Friday is going to be the rainiest day of the week as of right now. Continues into Saturday, but the real story is going to be this high surf warning. Definitely not the time to mess around on the rocks, mess around on the beach. That's where sneaker wave hits you, pulls you in, and then I was just surfing Ocean Beach a few days ago, and the currents out there are incredibly strong because anytime you get these huge tidal swings, like where it goes from almost a 7 to a -1, think of all of the water that's rushing out of the bay, and then that water has to go somewhere and it just rushes along the coast. It swept me down about a mile in no time at all. So you think if you have one little kid playing right here, wave crashes in, starts to pull him out in a rip, and then in no time he could be a mile down the beach. So yeah, definitely a good idea to stay out of the water throughout the next few days, even all the way through Saturday, especially on Thursday. That's where we could have some 25 to 30 foot waves. I'll definitely continue to cover this story as it unfolds, and hopefully I'll even get some footage to show you guys as well. So hopefully you learned something throughout the course of this video, and thanks for watching.